Ellen Forsyth.
And I'm Rachel Franks.
We're collaborators and this is our paper.
Collaboration, Negotiations in Publishing and Project Management. Librarians have a strong and indeed very successful history of engaging in various types of information and knowledge creation activities. Such activities include the connecting of readers to a wide variety of fictional works across every conceivable genre and subgenre, thus helping people to, through fiction, reflect on and reimagine the world around them. More traditional knowledge creation activities have also seen librarians assist researchers at all levels, from secondary to tertiary students to professional scholars to those pursuing private research projects, to engage with historical works covering every culture and every recorded time period, as well as rare and original materials as in all areas of human pursuits. For many librarians, these efforts take place as co-creation, librarian-client, and facilitated creation, librarian-client. Librarians do not take on a passive role in these interactions, one that is directed entirely by the client, but an active role that encourages and makes suggestions that are integral to each research project's success. The purpose of this paper is to highlight how, increasingly, these efforts are collaborative creation, librarian-librarian. Indeed, this paper aims to encourage more librarian-librarian interactions through demonstrating how such collaborative efforts can be pursued in a way which maximises outcomes for librarians, personally and professionally, as well as their clients. This will be achieved through the presentation of two very different case studies drawn from our own experiences, outlining how these librarian-librarian projects can work with the aim of encouraging library and information professionals to not only work better together in contributing to the body of research surrounding the information services industry, but also encouraging librarians to work differently. The first case study looks at traditional academic activities by unpacking experiences of co-editing a collection of essays. The second case study looks at some of the experiences of working with a multinational group of professionals producing a conference paper and an accompanying paper for a set of refereed conference proceedings. Both of these case studies will highlight some of the positives of working in a collaborative environment, in addition to looking at how to overcome some of the challenges that can arise when working on projects large and small in this way. Moreover, these examples will provide frames of reference so that those who have not had opportunities to work on a collaborative project are able to relate the mechanisms and tools outlined to real-world examples.
Case Study 1. Collaborating with another person, a cautionary tale. Two academics, A and B, working within the information services profession, were presented with an opportunity to co-edit a volume on a subject area that was of great interest to both of them. There were a few initial difficulties in resolving some of the basic logistical issues. They lived in different time zones and had very different sets of family and work commitments, but various measures, predominantly designed to facilitate communication, were put into place and the project began to move forward. Two of the issues that emerged within the early stages of the project were around the different expectations that A and B had around deadlines and some of the specific outcomes of the project. A failure of both A and B to define and deploy a schedule of work and to clearly articulate standards for contributions made the working relationship increasingly difficult as the project progressed. Superimposed upon this stressful situation was the need for A and B to coordinate and work with numerous contributors. Over time, each started to feel that they were shouldering the bulk of the responsibility for the project's success, thus diverting energy into an increasingly negative relationship instead of onto the delivery of a large-scale text. On reflection, A and B agreed that resolving issues as soon as they became apparent would have made the project both easier and more enjoyable. The main breakdown within the relationship was realised to be communication, with a key learning being that it is important to reply to all email and other messages, rather than avoiding these when things go wrong. Such avoidance can generate anxiety about one party feeling harassed and another party feeling ignored, or developing a concern that some crisis had befallen their colleague. It is important to note that the project was successfully realised. despite A and B struggling with each other and the process. Both participants in this collaboration achieved their goal, the production of a high-quality textbook of significant scale and scope. Yet neither party takes in the project a suite of positive experiences, and neither is willing to work with the other on a similar project in the future. The lesson here being around lost opportunities due to an unpleasant experience that could have been avoided through earlier and more consistent communication, in addition to following through on some individual tasks in a timelier manner.
Case Study 2, Collaborating with Other People, a good news story. Presented with an opportunity to work on a project smaller than the one undertaken by the academics A and B discussed briefly here, an academic, C, a librarian, D, and a student, E, committed to a collaborative process for the purposes of presenting a conference paper and preparing a piece of work for inclusion in the resulting set of refereed conference proceedings. Again, C, D and E lived in different time zones and had different sets of work and study commitments. Each of the team members also presented with different levels of research and writing experience. One of the issues that emerged approximately halfway between the start of the project and the first deadline, the delivery of the conference paper to an audience of peers, was a slight loss of confidence experienced by E. As a student, E began to feel intimidated by colleagues C and D, as both C and D had more research and writing experience, in addition to having English, the language of the conference and the associated set of refereed conference proceedings, as a first language. This was a difficult time for E, while C and D thought that E was not interested and ignoring an opportunity to collaborate. C and D decided to commit to an informal mentoring program for E, which ultimately resolved the situation. On reflection, C and D had initially expected more from E than a student was able to provide. Reimagining the two-part project from a collaboration with 3 team members contributing equally to a project in which each team member contributed according to their capability and capacity allowed both elements of the project to move forward without feelings of antagonism or resentment that lead, in extreme circumstances, to project failure. In this case study, each person felt valued by their colleagues and each person gained a personal and professional outcome from the experience. Both the conference presentation and the associated set of refereed conference proceedings were successfully realised. C, D and E each benefiting from a conference experience and an accompanying publication. Each of the participants in this collaboration also achieved personal outcomes through the establishment of an informal mentoring process, while the team members are all willing to work on building this team through the delivery of similar projects in the future. The key lesson here being around how collaborative efforts are a series of ongoing negotiations. Expectations defined in week 1 of a 15-week project often need to be re-evaluated and restructured to accommodate different situations as they arise and assist in managing expectations.
This paper has, it is hoped, encouraged librarians to engage in a librarian-librarian knowledge creation project for the first time, or serve to encourage librarians who may have collaborated in the past to try collaboration again. More detail on the benefits of collaboration, collaboration for beginners and experienced collaborators, collaboration techniques specifically for librarians and other information professionals, as well as an overview of some of the types of and tools for collaboration available today, can be found in our formal paper. Collaboration requires a set of skills that can be improved and refined over time. Certainly, any type of collaboration needs significant effort, as does undertaking any activity that is worthwhile. The results of collaborative enterprise can, however, be extraordinary. Certainly, the more traditional ways to contribute knowledge creation already noted, those activities focused on librarian-client interactions, have always been and will continue to be an essential component of the remit of librarians and other information services professionals. Yet the potential for librarians to be part owners of these research processes through librarian-librarian interactions, resulting in conference papers and other types of presentations, books, journal articles, magazine pieces and more, is still to be fully realised. It is these activities in an information age that is constantly changing that will assist in keeping librarians at the forefront of research-based endeavours. Librarians that are active researchers themselves are better equipped to engage with the research efforts of their clients. Moreover, those who deliberately set out to generate new information rather than locate information that is already available simultaneously promote their own capabilities as well as the capabilities of the broader information services industry, thus enhancing personal and professional reputations. It is important to emphasise that such seemingly academically based projects are not the exclusive domain of the university librarian, but can be undertaken by librarians working in any type of educational setting, in addition to those librarians working in public libraries, in state and national libraries, and in special libraries. Each librarian has the capability and capacity to contribute to knowledge creation. It is argued here that two or more librarians working together to achieve this goal in a collaborative framework can, with experimentation, practice, and some risk-taking, all benefit from collaborating. Thank you.
Thank you.